Am I the a-hole for not letting my sister and her family drive my car? I'm temporarily living with my parents while renovations on my house are on hold. My sister, her husband, and their two teenagers, 16M and 17F, also live with us because my sister lost her job just before COVID and moved in to receive financial support from our parents. There are 4 cars at the house. My dad's Audi, my mom's Mercedes, an older Prius my parents use as a backup car, and my BMW M4. My parents have scaled back their driving, and my mom plans to give the Prius to my sister's kids now that they're driving age. My sister has never bought her own car. She's always relied on vehicles provided by our parents, even keeping a car they bought her as a teen until it broke down. I bought my first car at 16 and have been self-sufficient since. Unfortunately, my sister has a bad driving record, with multiple at-fault accidents and tickets for careless mistakes like rolling stops or illegal turns. This behavior made the family insurance skyrocket. Her husband also has a poor driving history. Despite their assurances that they're good drivers, my parents and I know better. My dad's Audi is electric, and my sister and her husband refuse to drive it because they don't trust electric cars. My mom's Mercedes is off limits because she doesn't want my sister driving it either. That leaves the Prius and my car. The incident. Recently, my dad asked to take my BMW to a local track, which I agreed to. While he was out, my sister approached me, saying she needed a car to pick up some things from her kid's school. I assumed she'd take the Prius or my mom's car, so I didn't think much of it. Later, she came storming into the house, yelling about how my BMW didn't have a backup camera and that she could have hit the garage pillars while reversing. Shocked, I immediately took back my keys and told her she wasn't allowed to drive my car. I thought she was going to use the Prius. Her husband then offered to drive my car instead, but I refused, citing his poor driving history. I pointed out that the Prius was available, but my sister became furious, saying the Prius was beneath her because it's meant for her kids. This led to a heated argument where I told her that if she wanted a better car, she should buy one herself instead of freeloading at home. I also pointed out that her reckless driving was the reason no one wanted to lend her their cars. She stormed off, furious. Later, I allowed my nephew, whom I taught to drive and trust behind the wheel, to use my car or the Prius to run errands. I'm not sure which one he took, but I trusted him either way. Am I the a-hole? I feel justified in not letting my sister or her husband drive my car, given their bad driving records and entitled attitudes. However, I allowed my nephew to use it because I trust his skills. Comments: not the a-hole. I don't let anyone drive my car either, and for good reason. Cars are expensive, and insurance is no joke. The entitlement your sister shows by calling the Prius beneath her is astounding. She should be grateful. There's even a car available for her to use. Not the a-hole. Thanks for the laugh about the Prius being considered a beater. But seriously, your sister and her husband sound completely entitled. Lending out a car isn't like lending a pen. It's a major liability, especially when you know they're not responsible drivers. You're absolutely in the right. Your car is your property, and you're under no obligation to lend it out, especially to someone with a poor driving history. If your sister wants to avoid being stuck with the Prius, maybe she should work toward buying her own car. Story 2. Would I be the a-hole for telling my ex's new wife that her ring was originally mine? Years ago, I almost got engaged to my ex, but he broke it off 3 weeks before the engagement party. He had strong objections to diamonds, while I'd always dreamed of having one. To compromise, he gave me the money, and I picked out a beautiful solitaire ring that I put a lot of effort into choosing. When he called off the engagement, I gave the ring back. Months later, he mentioned he still had it, but didn't know what to do with it. I moved on, got married, and now have a child. Recently, I saw through mutual friends on social media that he got married. Out of curiosity, I looked at his new wife's profile and noticed something shocking. She was wearing my ring. Knowing my ex's frugal nature, I'm certain it's the same one. I'm torn. Part of me feels I should tell her, as jewelry often holds sentimental value, and this feels like a low move on his part. On the other hand, it's been years, and I've moved on with my life. Would saying something just stir unnecessary drama? Comments. You wouldn't be the a-hole for telling her, but consider what you'd gain from doing so. If it's just to stir the pot, maybe let it go. But if you think she'd want to know, then go ahead. I don't think you'd be in the wrong, but tread carefully. The ring might not mean as much to her as it does to you, and it could create unnecessary conflict in their marriage. Honestly, I'd leave it. You've moved on, you're happy, and this really doesn't affect your life anymore. Let her enjoy the ring, even if it was originally yours. Sure, here's a rewritten, detailed version of your text in a more structured and engaging manner. You're debating whether to tell your ex's fiancé that the ring you proposed with once belonged to you. Let's break this down. First and foremost, the ring wasn't truly yours. It was bought by your ex. While you may have chosen it during your engagement, you returned it after the relationship ended, as is customary. Once you gave it back, it became his property to do with as he pleased. Whether he keeps it, repurposes it, or uses it in another proposal is entirely his choice. Now, the bigger question, why would you even consider telling her? What's the purpose? The act comes across as stirring up unnecessary drama. Your ex's fiancé likely has no idea about the ring's history, and telling her would only cause pain and tension where none exists. Think about the consequences. His fiancé might feel hurt or insecure, even though she's done nothing to deserve such feelings. Your own husband might view this as a sign that you're still hung up on your ex, potentially causing strain in your marriage. Ultimately, sharing this information serves no constructive purpose. It doesn't solve a problem, teach a lesson, or offer closure. It's time to reflect. Why are you keeping tabs on your ex's life? Perhaps unfollowing or blocking him on social media would help you focus on your own happiness. Letting go is an act of strength and peace. Move forward. Your marriage and your well-being will be better for it. You've been living in an apartment in Ontario, Canada, since January, but your experience has been marred by a peculiar issue. Someone has been stealing your underwear and bras from the communal laundry room. At first, it seemed like a bizarre coincidence. Items would disappear from the washer or dryer, and there was no clear culprit. But after buying new clothes and noticing they too went missing, you had enough evidence to take action. One Saturday morning, you approached your landlord, who reviewed security footage. The only person who entered the laundry room during your wash cycle was your neighbor's teenage son. Furious, you confronted the boy's parents, but they denied everything and accused you of lying. However, since that confrontation, your items stopped disappearing. The matter seemed settled. Until today, when you caught the neighbor's son in the act, attempting to take items from your dryer. Confronting the parents again, they lashed out, accusing you of harassment and threatening to call the police. But here's the question. Does this count as theft, and can you report it? After some reflection and advice, you decided to file a police report. With the landlord's cooperation, you provided security footage as evidence. While the officer didn't seem overly concerned, the report was documented. Interestingly, the situation took an unexpected turn. The boy and his father showed up at your door, offering an awkward apology. The father admitted their mistake, returned your stolen items, and even compensated you financially for the loss. While you declined to keep the returned clothing, feeling uncomfortable with the idea, the father assured you he would personally handle any future issues. Though the matter is resolved, it remains an unsettling experience. For your peace of mind, you've taken steps to avoid further incidents, including keeping a closer eye on your laundry. You would be the Aholy telling the fiancé about the ring achieves nothing positive. It creates unnecessary drama and could backfire on your current relationship. Jewelry sentiment. Reusing a ring might feel impersonal to some, but it's not inherently wrong. Once the ring was returned, it was his to use as he wished. Legal implications. Yes, this counts as theft, and reporting it to the police was the right step. The return of your items, coupled with the father's apology, suggests the police likely intervened and spoke to the family. Underlying issues. Some commenters suggest this behavior is a red flag for deeper issues, such as potential sexually deviant behavior. The parents' initial denial could stem from embarrassment or fear of acknowledging the problem. In both stories, the theme revolves around boundaries, emotional resolution, and knowing when to let go or take action.